Hi, this is Prak with iRepairMD. Today we will be working on a DJI Phantom Vision Plus. This was shipped to me. The operator crashed, and what happened was you can see the ribbon cable, when it crashes, it ejects part of the gimbal, and the ribbon cable flew out. And if you guys fly these things, you know these Vision Plus gimbal, they're not cheap. This particular one runs about $600, and there's a few other things that seem to be the problem. You can see the shaft here has been bent hard. We're going to try to fix that issue today. We're also going to replace the flex cable on this, and we're going to the defect in the shaft right here, because the other receiver end is aluminum, so it's soft plastic. The only way to get it to hold in the right spot is to use an epoxy, and we're going to use a Loctite epoxy for this. First thing first, though, what we're going to do is to go ahead and take the gimbal out. Okay, put the clips away. Work on the other side. All right, so now let's go ahead and release the shock absorber from the body of the gimbal. By squeezing it, pulling out carefully. All right, so what we have now are these connectors here. Let's go ahead and carefully free it. Okay. So I'm using the razor to push down the clip. Okay, now this is out of play. What we're going to be concentrating on is this piece right here. With a Phillips screwdriver, I'll take a screw out here.
Alright. 800.
All right, got one right here that won't come off. Apply a little more force. All right. So there's a button right here you have to keep track of. First thing you need to do, though, is loosen up the hex screw right here. Okay, loosen it up a little bit. Now go ahead and separate this from the body. Okay, keep an eye on the home button, put it in the same place. And all right, so now what we need to do is expose this, and there's a little tape where the flex cable is applied to. So let's go ahead and just carefully remove it. So I'm just ripping it out slowly. There you go, exposing this. All right, so now what we're gonna do is got this replacement flex cable on eBay for about $65. And what we're gonna do is replace it. As we disconnect it, we're gonna start replacing it, okay? So as you can see here, this is a flex cable clip and the release is in the bottom. Let's go ahead and using your fingernail, go ahead and release it, okay? Free it out, okay? As you do that, all you pretty much have to do after that is put in the new one right here. So you don't see the copper anymore. Like that. Now go ahead and close it in. Alright, so now, as you can see, this wraps around like that. So what we need to do is go ahead and have this piece right here. Okay, and I'll run it around here. Let's go and free this out. Okay. Alright, so what we need to do is actually add double-sided tape. And when you bought this, they do send you one of these 3M double-sided strip. And I'm going to cut it to the size I need. Expose one side. Okay. Apply it right here. Okay. Now go ahead and lift it up. Okay, wrap this around. And as you can see, I'll try to get you a better view. Bring it down here. See where I have it? Right there. Okay. So now that's applied. Then we're going to wrap this, run it into here. Let's go ahead and open this side now. Open the vertical plate. Pull that out. Okay. Okay. Remove it. Okay, now let's go ahead, pull it out carefully, lift it up. Alright, so what you have is two cable. one behind it. This one here we will keep intact. All we're replacing is this one. And go ahead and release the connector from behind, which is this one right here. Okay, using your fingernail or pry tool or razor blade, go ahead and free it. Alright. Okay, so what we need to do is go ahead and insert flex into place. Okay. You have to excuse me with the camera angle because I'm repairing it and also operating the camera at the same time. I'll try to make it visible for you guys. So, connector in to the slot. Like that. Okay. And then when it's well seated, go ahead and close this back. Close the clip back. Okay. So the clip is closed. Clip is now closed, so go ahead and reinsert this. See the flat part of the circle right there? I guess you can say 3/4 circle. The flat part must be horizontal from the ground. That's what determines the leveling of your drone, at least the gimbal. Let's go ahead and we're going to leave this out for now. We're going to go ahead and proceed with the repair. Okay, so what we want to do is go ahead and actually put this piece back on to this right here. Okay, and this is how it works on a drone. Like that. But however, we need to actually epoxy the tip right here. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to epoxy the tip. Use this plastic surface here to mix an epoxy. Mix one part. Alright, and now go ahead, put the other solution next to each other. And we'll go ahead and mix it up. It's a quick drying epoxy, so we definitely, once we mix it, we want to go ahead and apply it as soon as we can. Okay, now the epoxy is nice and mixed. Little tip right here. Put a tip on the piece itself on the shaft. All right. And now we're going to go ahead and drop this in. Go ahead and drop it. The epoxy's mixing in, so we want to make sure it's in the right spot. And let's go ahead and what we're trying to do now is keep it vertical or horizontal. As you can see here, when this camera gimbal will fly, it will want to stay where the horizontal is. At this point, the camera is going to be tilted. What we need to do is to adjust it to a point where it fits. So let's go ahead and free this. And with a plier, we're going to manually adjust this. Okay. So now this should be level. So we're going to leave it sitting there for like 15 minutes, letting the epoxy cure before we proceed to the next step. So I'm going to rest it for 20 minutes, 15 minutes. Alright, so it's been 30 minutes now. And what we have is, what we had initially was this shaft was actually off, and the way I fixed it was I used a wrench like this, and whatever area that needs to be tilted, you just go ahead, use a plier and just tilt it accordingly, and that straightened the shaft. Now that should not be a problem. What we're going to do now is go ahead and take care of, now the epoxy's cured, we can go ahead and take care of the bottom half. We're going to run the cable, this cable here around, okay, and we're going to land this over here to replace that flex. Alright, but in order to do that we need access to the camera. Okay, so now what we're going to do is open the camera plate, back access, okay. All right. Okay. Access the back side right here. Move the flex out of the way. Okay. Now we're gonna go ahead and just just open the plate up. Little razor blade right here. Go ahead and lift it out. Put the plate in a nice place. Alright, so now what we need to do is release this. So we need access to the shield, the bottom shield. So there's two screws here holding it. Release that one. Go ahead and unscrew it. Okay, bottom shield. And the other side. Bottom shield right here. Take the bottom shield glue out, tape out, and screw out. Okay. And now you need to go ahead and keep in mind where this is being wrapped around. Okay, so we need to free this pin right here, and this pin, however, comes open from the other side, unlike the two black ones. So you pry it forward like that. Okay. Now we use a tweezer and go ahead and free this flex cable. Okay. Let's go ahead and have this. We got to free the rip one from here, so let's pull the rip one apart. Okay. And we're going to go ahead and just cut this cable off right here. We're going to replace it anyways. So go ahead and free it by cutting that. Okay. So now you have this. Go ahead and unravel this around. Okay. And let's go ahead and free this. Like so. Now what we need to do is take this screw out. So we can free the camera. That's the shaft screw right here. Okay. Put it in a nice place. Now pull the camera out. Okay. Notice there's two. Notice there's the half circle. And the way you want to put it back on is that the half circle is facing away from the front of the camera. So this is the front of the camera. So we want to insert it in like this. Put the screw back in, okay, when we need to. But let's go ahead and just replace the flex for this one for now. So we need to access the back plate. There's 3 screws here. Take the screw out. Okay. And now go ahead and turn it around. There's one more screw. Just keeping the cap on. Loosen that out. Okay. Now you should be able to remove the whole thing. Okay. So what we're doing is putting the new flex cable, this into this slot. Let's go ahead and remove it. Okay, keeping the motor flex intact. Go ahead and release the clip. This black one right here. Go ahead and unclip it. Pull out. Now go ahead and insert the flex into place. Alright, make sure it's all nice and seated. Then go ahead and lock it back in like that. And go ahead and put the shaft back into place. Okay. Put this back in its original slot. Like so. And go ahead and put the reapply the tape on the hole. Alright. Let's go ahead and put the screws back in. Alright, so the small screws helps to have a magnetic screwdriver. Screw into one place here, tighten it, flip it over. Now we have 3. 1, 2, and 3. The smaller of the screw have here goes into the top. Okay. Top screws here goes, the biggest screws goes in the bottom. The biggest screw goes into the bottom. Like so. Now, let's review what we got. We got the bottom flex replaced, running it around, wrapping it from the vertical shaft into the vertical gimbal part, and wrapping it down, adhesive, sticking through here, it runs into the horizontal stabilizer. Now what we need to do is put this into the camera. So we'll put this flex back in. And the way this camera goes is the shaft that is circular fits to the front. Okay? What we need to do now is go ahead and put the screw back into the shaft. The shaft screw. Like that. Into place. Making room. Running this shaft around. Okay. Alright, so it goes completely around now. Alright. So what you're going to do is go ahead and flex, set it in like so. And now close the cap on it. Alright. So as you can see, we got everything well situated. Now let's go ahead and test. Well, we can't really test yet. Let's go ahead and seal all the parts. Got the shaft closed. So we're going to put this back in. The bottom, the flex, the camera flex guard, or the ring. Put the screw back in here. Okay. Now I'm just going to put the second half in. Let's rest it. Go ahead and put the back on. Okay, like so. Okay. Now everything's nice and tight. Let's go ahead and put the plate back on the back too. The smaller screw on top. Okay. Bigger screw in the bottom. Okay. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and put the plate back on to the bottom piece. And keep in mind, there's a few things to look at. There's a ball bearing right here. You want the bearing to stay on here. Okay. And what we need to do is put this power button back on. Home button on. Okay, align the button. Align it where the physical button is, which is right over here. So we need to align it that way. Okay, just keeping it. You see the flex is sticking out. Now go ahead and face this down. Okay, everything is snapping in place. And we're going to go ahead and adjust this flex here to match with the original placement of it. About right here. There's still some adhesive, so we can still use it. Okay. Alright, so what we need to do is we're going to lower this plate, set it back into place. Okay. Okay, so now we have everything back into place. We need to go ahead and tighten this shaft right here, but make sure that if you can see it, there's a notch again, there's a quarter circle. The flat part is where the screw is landing on. Okay. You want it so it's free enough to slide back and forth, but it doesn't scratch against the surface. Go ahead and apply the screw back into place. All these parts here. Put the screw back in. Okay. All right. Screws in here. Alright, let's take a look at what we've got. We had now the whole assembly of the drone is built. The flex is all back in. So what we'll do now is actually put it back onto the drone. Okay, so first thing we do is put these flex cable in place. Alright. The smaller one by itself. Best angle for you guys. See. Okay. The larger one into here, and the smaller one, the medium-sized one, is snap. So now everything is nice and seated. What we're going to do is not put it entirely in yet. We need to test to make sure it works. So we're going to add the shock in for now. So what we need to do is just go ahead, there's 2 open shocks that we can use. So let's squeeze the shock into place. Just work it in. And on the other side, alright, we're going to power this on to see if this gimbal actually works. Okay. Insert the battery in. Battery in to place. Turn it on and test it out. As you can see, the gimbal stabilizes. Everything works. Okay, so as you can see, this gimbal, it's working really perfectly well, just like new. And this is a successful repair. But what I'm going to show you, what we're going to do next is we're going to put the drone guard on, the drone guard XL that protects the bottom. Okay, so now that we have the all the parts reinstalled back, what we need to do is put the drone guard on. And this is my latest one. It's the DJI Vision Plus Gimbal Guard XL. And this will protect the crash, and in the event that this crashed the way it did before, the gimbal will not separate. Let's go ahead and do the packaging. Alright. What you're going to get is the bigger Drone Guard XL. This was 3D manufactured and hand sanded. And this is the bottom guard, and this is the top guard. What we're going to do first is install the top guard. So what you do is remove the double-sided tape adhesive, at least the shielding of it, exposing it there. Now what you want to do is go ahead and apply it to the gimbal guard. So face down, pull this over here. Okay, carefully adjust this. All right, run this over the lip. Okay, first thing you do is have this go into the bottom half. Now we can go to the front Now pay attention to where the guard is. And keep in mind where the flex cable is. This is, you gotta install this carefully or else you can damage the flex cable in the process. But once you have it installed, you'll never have to uninstall it, and it'll protect your guard in the event of a crash to your gimbal. Okay, so you have it now. Right, you can see, slide it over without damaging the flex cable. Okay, now snap it forward. Okay, you can see it's nice and snug now. All right, and now it gives this the freedom to move left and right, and if it does, in the event of a crash, this will prevent it from ejecting. The guard here will prevent it from ejecting. As you notice, it's a little difficult to install because it's designed to an extremely close tolerance, so it snugs on perfectly. And be very careful with the flex cable when you install it. Now let's go ahead and do the bottom half, the smaller guard, and this will protect the flex cable. Also, it's designed to protect this flex cable. People have flown this into branches and have branches actually clip this and rip out the flex cable, and then you have a useless gimbal. So what we do here again is be very careful. Pay extra close attention to where the flex cable is. All right, so go ahead, slide it over, and now go ahead and snap it in to place. Okay, so now you can see the gimbal guard's working perfect. Let's go ahead and turn it on, and I'll show you. Okay, and you can see the gimbal guard works to protect the gimbal from crashing. And you also have freedom of movement as it tilts. Okay? And alright, so we're gonna go ahead and test the camera. Select the DJI Phantom from the Wi-Fi, and I'm gonna launch the app. Okay? And this is the view from the camera. As you can see, you can control the tilt. All right, and I want to lift the camera up. Okay, and here you go. Tilting it pretty hard here, and as you can see, it's staying pretty level. Give you a tour of the place using the gimbal. All right, this simulates the drone. As you can see, is you can record this too. Okay, so what we did in this episode is I showed you guys how to replace the flex cable and how to do the reassembly and how to install the DJI Gimbal Guard Flex Cable XL. And this is Prak with iRepairMD. Safe repair.